In my previous video, I mentioned how the role of AI and quantum computers are likely to change the future of education as we know it. I believe this is going to happen on a global scale, but also within the UK, what I was referring to was GCSEs. So I'm a home educator and I get asked the question a lot, will I be enabling my children to take GCSEs when they become of age? And my initial reaction is to say yes, because truthfully, if GCSEs do exist, by the time my children hit age 15 to 16, I do want them to take the exams because I want them to be on a level with other children who are their age. I want them to be competitive in that way, in that they will have a good chance or a great chance of succeeding because they are taking the same exams and learning similar things to what their peers are learning. But what I also mentioned was that I don't actually believe GCSEs are going to be a thing by the time my 5-year-old and 2-year-old go to take the exams, because of the shift in technology and the advancement of technology and the effects I believe that will have on education in years to come, in a short space of time as well, because things have rapidly sped up in the area of technology, even within the past 2 years. So I don't expect there to be the same types of exams. I don't think children are going to be taught in the same way. And so I am preparing my children to be adaptable, to learn how to adapt to their surroundings, no matter what context is thrown at them. And what I wanted to talk about today was the importance of identity as a foundation for my children. So as a home educator, I want my children to learn similar things to their peers, but I want to focus on identity, helping them to understand who they are, whose they are, because I believe we were all created by God, Yahweh. And so it's important for them to know that from a young age, that they're not just a statistic, they're not just a number and someone who is just going to exist and then disappear. They mean something to many people, but especially to the Creator. And if they can understand their importance as human beings, as individuals, that they were made for a purpose and that they were given specific gifts and they were created for more than just to go through a system, then I believe that that will really help them, especially when there's a threat of technology taking over jobs and even purpose for many people. Some people are grounded in their careers. I want them not to see a achievement as their identity, but who they are as the grounding of their identity, that they're children of the Most High, and that, as I said, they were given gifts that they can utilize, that are specific to them, and that they had the right to utilize in this lifetime. I don't want them to think that just because of technology being able to do things that now humans can do, that they're invaluable. I want them to see that despite all of these outside agencies, they have purpose, they have intuition, and they can communicate with the Most High in order to find out the path that is specific to them, what they should be doing, rather than looking at what is the world telling me to do. So I wanted to just make that point, that as well as adaptability, it's identity that I'm focusing on as a home educator. So some of the ways I do that at the moment is we have a daily prayer. So every morning, well, we pray anyway as a family, but when it comes to the school, every time I go to teach my children, we pray. So this is specifically talking about my older one, because my younger one, he's just in and out. But my older one, we sit down, we pray for the lesson. We do a memory verse. So every week we have a memory verse that we pinpoint. So it's one verse from the Bible. Because he's only 5, I don't expect him to retain a lot of it, but it's just getting into that habit of involving the Most High in our education routine. And so on the first school day, which is a Monday, we'll read the verse, then talk about the verse, and then do a creative project or a creative drawing or something creative to kind of pinpoint that memory verse, so that he kind of remembers the key words within the verse. And then we'll read it every day up until Friday, and then the following week we'll have a new verse and do the same thing. So that's one of the ways that we try to keep the focus of the Most High in the picture. And then when it comes to things that we learn about, so we learn the basic academic subjects, but then where I can, I try to draw references to how it might relate to the Bible. I know I need to be stronger at this actually, but this is something that I do try to do when the opportunity presents itself, to relate what we've learned to maybe a Bible study that we've had, or something that we've discussed in the past relating to the Bible, or if there's something new that I know that he doesn't quite know yet relating to the Bible, I might give him that information, so he can see that everything's connected. And then we have our we keep the weekly Sabbath on Saturday. We do praise and worship and a creative task relating to the Bible. We also do this thing called tough trays. Tough trays are brilliant. It's a black tray that I think originated from builders who used it for their purposes, but in more recent years I've seen a lot of parents, especially with early years children, using these trays as a way to lay out toys or activities that children can do. And why I like them is because it just creates a context for children to focus and to learn. And every time I bring the tough tray out, my children get excited because they know that there's going to be something on the tray, or something that I later introduce to the tray, that they're going to enjoy, because I tend to differentiate the types of activities I put on there. So that's one other way that we incorporate the Bible in and teach identity to our children. And generally just keeping an atmosphere of empowerment so that he knows, and as my 2-year-old grows, he will also learn to know, even though he does know a few things, because he does watch Bible stories and he sings with us when we sing like Bible related songs. He joins in and he's getting to know the Bible that way through stories and different activities like that. But generally what I want to do is create a culture of dependency on the Most High first, and then everything follows through from that lens. As black boys as well, it's important that my children know their standing in this world, that they're no different to anyone else in terms of their abilities. I try to reinforce how beautiful they are and how smart they are just by complimenting them. I don't overdo it. I do, when I need to correct them, I correct them. I am mindful that words are powerful, so where I can, I try to reinforce their brilliance as children, but not in a way that would make them think that they're any better than anyone else, and I think that's important, but to show them that I want them to be able to reflect on the words that myself and their dad has spoken to them while they're growing, because I know that when they get older, they'll reflect on these times and the words that we spoke to them during difficult moments, and I want them to know deep down in their core of who they are and the brilliance that's within them and what they can contribute to this world. So I don't know how much of an impact I could have in that area if I sent my children to school. I know parents who do send their children to school have different approaches that will work for them, which is great. But for me personally, I just like the idea of being able to teach them day in, day out, and give them that grounding. So it's not a discouragement for anyone who sends their children to school. It's just being aware that things are changing very quickly, and in a few years' time, well, it'll be in 10 years' time when my eldest comes to take his GCSEs, those qualifications might not be there anymore, and so it's important that he learns to adapt and depend on the Most High and understand who he is in this world and not what the world says he should be. So I hope you find that interesting, and just to let you know who I am, I'm Mawuena and I started this channel as a way for me to get my thoughts out there and to practice speaking, because speaking has been a challenge for me, but I can feel myself getting better as the days are going by, so it's working. Feel free to subscribe if you liked this video, like the video itself, subscribe and leave a comment. What do you think about the future of education, especially when it comes to technology, AI, quantum computers, and all of the changes that are happening in the world? How do you feel that will impact children in years to come? Or if you just got a general comment or feedback, let me know. So thank you for watching and take care.